Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, October 11th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and technical analysis to help make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. Before I get started, real quick, just keep in the back of your mind that as I go through the video, if you're liking what you see and you do want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to, like I said, make good decisions and then ultimately build consistency, then I am offering a free live online class this upcoming week. So if you're interested in getting signed up, I want to personally invite you to do that. So if you're watching on YouTube, then down in the description box, there's a link that you can click on. Or if you're watching at my site, claytrader.com, then there's an area right on the webpage there that you can get signed up at. So no pressure or anything like that. But yeah, if you like what you're hearing, you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up. First one here, ticker symbol CEI, and just a monster day of volume. And overall, though, a relatively tricky chart to talk about because it's all about perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you were buying this morning up around there and your plan was, buy and sell within a few minutes, well, then, yeah, from that perspective, the chart looks really bad. Now, if you care about the bigger picture point of view, I understand the price did pull back, but let's look at where actually the new low from today was. So previously in the top 10 video, talked about this $1.25 level down there, that green line. But now that we have more data after today, what's the lowest that it went today? Well, right down there around $1.55. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but you can see that, this green line that formed today is higher than that one, which is a good, that's what you want to see. Or, to maybe make this a little bit more visually friendly, we had a set of lows right here. Then we had this set of lows right here. Now we have this set right here. So if you envision these as stair steps, what are these stair steps doing? They are still progressing in the upwards direction. So again, from the big picture point of view, that's a good sign. That's showing that the price is still making progress. Again, fully realize if you're a day trader and you bought right there, then yeah, you really don't care about these stair steps. But that's what I'm trying to emphasize and kind of differentiate that there are a couple different vantage points here to look at this. So overall, yeah, no doubt about it. Disappointed that the price gapped up and came all the way back down there, but at least to build a higher base. So really the big question heading into next week is, can these bases continue to get higher and higher? We'll see what happens with it. Next one here, ticker symbol CCXI, and absolutely bonkers day today. Huge volume and a pretty wild ride when you just stop and think about it. And I should note that these are 30-minute time frames that I'm using, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So you can see the early part of the day gapped up and then just went down and down and down and down, and things were looking pretty shaky. But then you got the classic hammer candle right there and a complete turnaround to not only take it back up to those highs, but then, push up through there. So overall, a very eventful day, and it's, sure not a guarantee of anything, but I think it's very valid and rational to think that there's still going to be a bunch of traders watching it on Monday. So let's map out a couple of the key levels here. First key level to watch, nothing fancy or complicated, just simply a question of, okay, well, where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there at $41. So $41 will be public enemy number one from the resistance side of things. And then as far as support levels are concerned, a couple different areas of support to keep an eye on. First level going to be right down here around $36.35. And then if somebody's like, I'd want more of a pullback, well, then the next potential area of support for a pullback right down there around that $33 mark. So overall, though, very clearly, a lot of momentum here showed up this afternoon. Sure, it's been consolidating this afternoon, but that's the question. Is this just a consolidation before another continuation of the momentum on Monday? Let's see what happens with it. Next one, ticker symbol AMC, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video previously of the top 10 when I talked about this, because both levels that I talked about previously completely came into play today, and they both behaved well like the chart suggested they might. So not a whole lot of new things to talk about, but new in the sense of, yeah, we definitely have confirmation that a couple of these areas are definitely going to be important. So the first level, that should ring a bell, or if you didn't watch the video, no big deal, but talked about that pink line up there, which on my chart denotes the very famous 200 period moving average. Talked about that as a potential area of resistance, and wouldn't you know it, look right where the price got rejected from today. Pretty crazy. You just can't make that stuff up. Price literally went up to that pink line and then got rejected back down. So like I said, not a new level to talk about. I talked about it previously, but definitely got confirmation that, yeah, that 200 period moving average is going to be a key level of resistance. Current value of that is, we'll just call it $38.50. And then the other level that was more encouraging was, I talked about that purple line there being an area of support, the 50 period moving average, and you can see that the price came down there. It didn't hit it exactly, but I think we can all agree got within the general range of it and then bounced. And then once again, the final 30 minutes, again, didn't hit it exactly, but right around the general vicinity, and once again held strong. So from that angle, nothing has changed. 50 period moving average, again, still the key level of support. Right now valid at, we'll call it 37.40. And then key level resistance remains up there at 38.50, which is that pink line. So it's just a big old question mark of who's ultimately going to win out. Are the bulls going to win out and push to the upside, or are the bears going to win and push to the downside? Looks like we're going to get that answer next week. Next one here, ticker symbol DATS. Very, very impressive move. Things were looking pretty rough over the past couple of days, just kind of hanging around down here, but really came to life today and has made a big move up. Sure, there's still more work that needs to be done, but I mean, without doubt, certainly a step in the right direction. So the first level that, ideally speaking, that you're going to now want to see the price hold is up above that pink line there, again, like I just talked about, being the 200 period moving average. But because the price is up above it, instead of this situation being a resistance, at this point, it would actually be considered a level of support, and that's valued right there at $10.35. So any sort of pullback, preferably speaking, 10.35 would be the level that you would want to see hold. Now, I say preferably speaking because it's not like if the price falls below there, then that means the entire chart's epically destroyed. I'm not saying that. But yeah, in terms of what would make the chart look the strongest, certainly if the price can stay above there. But if it doesn't, there is still another little grouping of potential support right down there around that former breakout point at $9.40. So 10.35, the preferable level, but I'd say $9.40 is more of an important area because you wouldn't want to see the price having gone back to where it was, which is what this would represent. If the price were to go down there, and all of a sudden you have the price right back inside of that range. And again, not saying that's what's going to happen, but that is why that would be an important level. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, next key level to watch very closely going to be right up there at $12.50. You can see previously when the price got up around this area, it presented some problems. So keep an eye on that. But overall, anyway, look at it. Fantastic volume today. Very nice momentum to close the week. So let's see how it all plays out next week. Next one here, ticker symbol F for Ford. And we talked about this in yesterday's top 10 video, but updates need to be done as this once again has put in higher highs and higher lows. So we're going to do a little bit of house cleaning, just get rid of this line and this line here. Sure, those levels still pertain. They're just not necessarily relevant right now. And from a presentation standpoint, I don't want to risk causing confusion because there's lines and clutter everywhere you look. So let's try to keep this as clean as possible. But the first update comes about just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So just like we talked about in the previous stock, the ideal level of support being right there at $14.95. So if the price does drop below there, not the end of the world, but if the price could stay above there, that would certainly be a great sign of power. And then for more of the overarching perspective that matters most, that's where the purple line there is going to come into play, that 50 period moving average. And as the name implies, that line over time, the price will move itself higher and higher. So the point here being that as long as the price does ultimately stay above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then that implies that the overall trend is still bullish. And, the price is, just putting in those higher bases, which is what matters most. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, a couple of key levels. The first one that I'm curious about is a much more near-term level right there at about $15.25. And then more so the more important one from an overall standpoint is just where the more so overall move got rejected from today, up there around $15.40. But nothing has really changed from the core, and the core subject is just a big movement the past couple of days, big volume, and as long as the price keeps on putting those higher highs, that's by far what matters most. Next one here, ticker symbol PROG. And this is one where, it didn't really do much, and it hasn't done much over the past few days, but it just, and I'm just throwing it out there, and maybe nothing comes from it, but it just throws out the question, I don't know, is this one of these where everybody kind of forgets about it, but it's actually, just behaving fine, and then all of a sudden it explodes again? And what do I mean by behaving fine? Well, obviously that 30-minute session right there was not fine. That was very rough, very terrible. You had that section right there, not much better. But after that, in other words, the past couple of days, the prices just started to go sideways. Now, volume has dropped off a whole lot. And let me be very clear, just because the price has gone sideways does not mean that this is guaranteed to be the bottom and that the price is for sure going to go back up. My point here and the power of charts is it at least allows us to make a rational decision. It allows us to make a logical decision that, yeah, the price is no longer going down. It is just going sideways. So maybe, just maybe, this is getting ready to head back up. And that's really the big question mark moving forward is, let's see if this sideways kind of in slow, boring, low volume action is actually a leading indicator that, yeah, this thing is actually getting ready to make some sort of move to the upside. I'm going to get rid of these lines because it's pretty clear. Main area of support, again, that pink line, the 200 period moving average, which is currently valued at $1.19. And then as far as the area of resistance is concerned now, to me, it's all about this trend line right there, which you can see has been pretty stubborn towards the price. But while nothing is guaranteed, as I said, is it valid? Is it rational to think that if the price can actually get up through that trend line, that break could create some upside momentum? Absolutely. So in my mind, it's worth at least keeping an eye on next week. Next one, ticker symbol VYGR. And this will mean a little bit more to those, not a little bit, it will mean more to those of you that have watched past top 10 videos where I talked about this one. But even if you didn't, you still got a great real life example on the power of charts. But if you've ever heard somebody say breakout I mean, this is a textbook example of a breakout. So like I said, drew that red line into play, a couple days ago. And I mean, check this out. Earlier on in the day, got rejected. But when it finally broke right there, never looked back. And what a breakout. A truly beautiful breakout. So more of the story there, updates need to be done. So I'll get rid of these lines down there as they've served their purpose for now. But as far as some of the newest areas are concerned, from the pullback point of view and supports, key area of support that stands out to me quite a bit right down there around $4.75. But again, if you're somebody that likes to play more so the moving averages or just want, an indicator to help with the overall trend, then it goes back to that discussion with the purple line there, 50-period moving average. So let that line move higher and higher, or as I like to call them, tread lines for lazy people. So that tread line will draw itself for you in the upwards direction. And as long as the price stays above the tread line, well then, hey, you know that the overall price is still in the bull's favor. And then as far as levels of resistance are concerned, very straightforward, nothing fancy at all. Literally just a question of, okay, well, where did the party finally stop today on the breakout? That was up there at $5.70. So keep an eye on that. But a big congratulations to anybody that will, watch that top 10 and bought the breakout right there. I'm assuming you're having a very good weekend. So again, a big congratulations to you. Next one here, ticker symbol SNDL. And overall, a good day in the sense of, well, I mean, just yesterday the price was down here and now the price is all the way up there. But yeah, it goes back to the whole perspective, a topic that we talked about previously, where if you're a day trader and you bought right there and you wanted to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yeah, from that perspective, you're not going to be having a very good weekend because this was a nasty, nasty pullback, which really brings up the key dynamic of, okay, well, from the overall standpoint, it's still okay, but to what point? And to me, 66 cents is by far a very must-hold level. Why is it such an important level? And I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to go down to 66 and then break down below it, what would that be doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price right back inside of this big old range that it broke out of today. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements with genuine, true strength are not going to go back to where they were. They're going to make at least some sort of form of progress. Whereas that's what 66 cents represents. Because if the price were to go down there, bounce around, and then head back up, what would you at least have at that point in time? Well, you'd have a set of lows right there. You'd have lows there, you'd have lows there, and if you envision those as stair steps, well, there you go. You still have progress in the upwards direction. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, key level going to be right up there around 72 cents. But in my opinion, the pressing dynamic right now, the most important thing is whether or not this is actually going to go show signs of progress, or if this is just, the beginning of the price going right back to where it was. So all that remains unseen. But in my mind, like I said, 66 cents, by far the most important level here headed into next week. Next one, ticker symbol RSLS. Beautiful day, beautiful pattern. And, when you have very clean-cut areas like this, it makes things, I don't want to say easier, but it makes things a little bit more, dynamic in the sense of, this is not some sort of special talent on my part that I'm about to do. I assure you people around the world that understand use charts will be able to do what I'm doing in here in just a second. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same thing and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements. And I assure you, there's a bunch of people that are like, okay, the price clearly struggled up around 335. That's a key area of resistance. But look, the price did a fantastic job of holding above that trend line right there. So for this, let me just change that to green to represent more of a bullish attribute. And then to really just finish off the pattern, there's going to be a bunch of people that, like I said, are watching that resistance, are watching that support. And then I said, and look at that big momentum move right there. Big momentum and, the upwards direction right there. And this is what would give us, and to make it a little more visual, let's put the golf hole down there, a bull pennant pattern. So there's going to be so many people watching this bull pennant. And again, while nothing is guaranteed, more than valid, more than rational to think that if the price can work its way back up there and then get the break up through that level, that break could very well create a whole lot of additional buying and additional momentum. So it's worth keeping an eye on. So anyway, look at it. Fantastic way to end the week. Nice bull pennant pattern. So let's see if the bulls can get the breakout next week. Next one here, Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA, and did this yesterday, but what I want to get into play here, what I'm very now curious about is this trend line right there, because it's looking like it's got a very, very big chance of coming into play here on Monday, especially after a very rough final 30 minutes. I mean, there's no need to really beat around the bush. That there was a nice breakout that occurred there. Nice breakout. Price was running, and then after that, it was like somebody flipped off the switches of momentum, and it just dumped all the way back down. Let me take it. Dumped is not the right word, because dumped would have been having come down to that trend line and then just continued on down. But there was a very just kind of big disappearance of momentum, and quite frankly, a very ugly candle, which now brings about what I think a whole lot of people are going to be wondering. And it goes back to self-fulfilling prophecy point of view, because I assure you, there's a bunch of people that notice that trend line and put the trend line in there. And then you combine that with the fact that the last 30 minutes was so rough, and they're going to be wondering, okay, is the price about to come down to that trend line? And if so, is it going to break? So you better believe that there's going to be a bunch of shorts watching that level too. And rightfully so on their end, because they have valid thinking that if that level breaks, that could create a lot of downside pressure. Now, of course, there's no guarantees. That's why risk management exists for shorts too, because there's no guarantee that if it breaks, it's going to keep on going down. So it could break and then snap back upwards. But my point here is that there are going to be so many people watching that trend line, and that's a very, very interesting dynamic right there around 783, give or take. So definitely you'll want to keep an eye on that. But if the price does recover back around, then the level here that really stands out to me now is this area right up here at the 793 mark, mainly just because that's essentially where this big breakout, all of a sudden, the momentum just disappeared. So keep an eye on that from the resistance side of things. But again, I think that level is what everybody's eyes are going to be watching early next week. So we'll see how the price behaves relative to it. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you liked what you saw, if you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to make the good decisions, to make rational decisions, and then ultimately build consistency within a strategy, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, October 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So get signed up for it, and I look forward to talking more about this with you. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these sorts of videos, because they do require a good amount of time and effort, but I'm willing to do them as long as I know that there's interest, as long as I know that they're helpful. So if you do find interest in them, if you do enjoy them, then communicate that to me by please doing two things. Hit the like button, leave a basic comment. You could say hi. You could give me a ticker symbol that you traded today. Maybe give me your watch list for next week. But hitting the like button, leaving a basic comment goes a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know that's the case, then I will continue to do them. So again, if you want to learn more about this, definitely get signed up for the class. And hopefully everybody had a great week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back on Monday.